And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I am Michael Delana, and today I am here with, a new and dear friend of mine, Leanne Teston. Leanne, thanks for being with me today.
Oh, thanks for having me here. I'm super excited.
Well, it is going to be a fun conversation. So Leanne is a former financial advisor who now coaches female financial advisors who want to grow their practice without buying leads or making cold calls. Now, that's awesome, Leanne. I don't know why everybody doesn't work with you, because nobody wants to buy leads and nobody wants to make cold calls. I mean, that's how I started my sales career decades ago, is knocking on doors, right? Terrible. But anyway, that's what I want to talk about here in a minute. But first, tell us, how in the world did you get to doing what you're doing now? There's a journey there. Give us a snapshot of your journey that brought you to a place where you can mentor financial advisors.
So it's started out back in 95. So 26 years ago, fresh out of college, and got into the industry. I loved it. I still love it. Met some amazing people along the way. And I was really able to build a really successful practice. Brought in millions in assets, millions in insurance revenue. My frustration, however, was seeing so many women come into the industry, but then turning around and leaving again because they weren't getting the support that they needed to be successful.
Yep.
And through that frustration, I said to myself, you know what, Leanne, you've got the experience. You can do something about this.
Yeah.
So I made a pivot, and I am now focusing full time on helping women have the same great type of career that I had.
That's awesome. So do you work with women across the nation, across the world? How big is your audience?
My audience expands all across Canada and the US.
Awesome.
So pretty broad. Yeah.
That is very cool. I think, by the way, we just need to take the border down between the two countries and just, make it all one. I don't know. I think it's so cool. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Okay. All right. So you work really right now, female financial advisors, which I love that, because as we learn in marketing, there are riches and niches.
Yep.
And so you've got this unique approach to help these female financial advisors grow their practice without buying leads or making cold calls. That's what I really want to dive into, and because that's totally different and unique. So let's talk a little bit about what do you do? How do you help people? What have you learned that really works?
I've learned a lot. Now, when I started out, I was buying the leads, I was making the cold calls, doing the door knocking. Yeah. And my description for that is that it is soul sucking. It's just the dial days, hate it. But there is a better way.
Yeah.
And so later in my career, I discovered the power of networking, the power of referrals, but most importantly, in this day and age, the power of social media. Mm-hmm. And so once you are able to harness that, you are no longer making cold calls, and you've got the leads coming in asking to talk to you.
That is so good. I hope everybody listening, because even if you're a guy listening, you just learned something there, right? And I tell the story a lot about how to catch a mouse, because I had a mouse in my crawl space a while back, and I went down there and I opened the outside door, and all the mice went because I was chasing them. So I had to get a mouse trap and I put peanut butter on it because it works better than cheese, actually. And I went back the next day, and guess what? There they were. They had been attracted to the peanut butter, and I got them. And that's exactly what you said. When we're cold calling, when we're doing the typical stuff, we're chasing prospects and they're running from us. But when you position yourself properly, and you're going to talk to us about doing that on social media and build networks, you actually start attracting the right type of customer, because it builds your credibility, and they don't think you're out there to sell them something, right? Exactly. You want to serve them. So go on. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Absolutely. First and foremost, when you put yourself out there on social media, the number one rule is to be yourself. Do
Mm.
not try to be someone that you're not. You can't please everyone. And so the biggest or the first thing to do is to really tell your story. What got you into the financial industry and in managing the investments or providing the insurance solutions so that individuals know where you're coming from. And you know this as well as I do, Michael, the story, that is what captures people's attention and allows them to remember you. Uh,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
that's really the first step to the process.
And it's so important, Leanne, because they all do the same thing. All of your clients really at the end of they do the same thing, right? You have investments, you have
Yep.
insurance, you have who cares? It's all the same stuff, but your story is unique. And that's what bonds me to you. It makes me know you, like you, trust you. And that's what captivates me. And really, I want in marketing, I want people to either be really attracted to me or really repelled by me. And that's I'm perfectly okay with that. I don't resonate with everybody. Praise God. But that's what you're talking about, is be yourself. If you're a soccer mom and you're a financial advisor out there, if you're a soccer mom, great. Do some videos from the soccer field. You don't have to talk about soccer. You're talking about investments, but you're on the soccer field, right? Something like that, of asking yourself the story I asked you at the beginning. How'd you get here? There's a reason every financial advisor is in financial advising. Tell them that story. It'll
Mm.
resonate, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's definitely step number one. Step number two, give more than you take.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are out there in networking, different events or in social media, don't expect the prospect or the lead to just, run up to you and say, hey, do business with me or give me some insurance. It doesn't work that way. Just like when you're at a networking event, you're not going to run up to someone and say, hey, do you want some insurance? You've got to build the relationship, and you can do that just as easily, actually even easier on social media than what you can in person. Um, and it's something that not a lot of people are really aware of, but
Mm-hmm.
you can build some really strong business relationships via the social media network.
That's very intriguing. And because you're right, not a lot of people talk about that. And really, to build a solid business is going to be there for the long term, you need the relationship, because
Yes.
too many times we're focused on the today buyer.
Yes.
The problem with that is that's probably less than 1%.
Mhm.
Right? Most people aren't going to make a buying decision for 90 days to 2 years from today, especially in financial services, right? And so
Yes.
you build the relationship and you do things that make you top of mind awareness. So you're the first one they think of,
Mhm.
and the one they feel the best about, because you're a giver. I
Yes.
like Lynn. She's always doing these things. We should probably just talk to her, right? That's how you grow your business, right?
It's like the give, give, get model.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And being patient for the get.
Yes,
It's okay.
absolutely.
It's all
But
right.
if you think about it, if you give, give, get over the course of time, because you've given so much, that's going to come back to you tenfold.
Oh,
And fast forward a few months down the road, you've got those incoming messages coming in on a daily basis, and your business is blossoming. So it's really, really exciting, very exciting to watch.
well, it is. And what's really exciting is you're doing it without spending loads of money on buying leads or
Yes.
whatever. So your pocketbook's a little bit better off, but you find the joy of leads popping onto your calendar, and you're like,
Yes.
well, that was really cool. Talk some
Yeah.
more about that, because that's really exciting.
Yeah. And when you say it's easier on your pocketbook, the strategies that I use are not ones that involve Facebook ads. So you don't have your ad spend. You are organically going out into the Facebook world or the LinkedIn world. You're talking to people, you're building the relationships. And then when the time is right, you're inviting them to get on a Zoom or a phone call with you. And that's when you provide a solution. You're
Hmm.
not selling them, you're providing them with a unique solution that's going to work for them.
Yeah.
So it's a very different mindset, but it's a mindset that is going to carry you for years into the future.
Yeah, very much so. And especially on social media, when you're doing it this way, you're engaging on social media, you're posting, you're doing things. You get a pulse of the market, of your audience out there. And if you're astute, you know what's going on in the world. So, one of the marketing principles we always teach is, and I learned this from, I think it was Gary Halbert years ago, is you want to enter into the conversation that's already happening in the mind of your audience. So
Mhm.
what are they thinking about? What's going on in the political world? What's going on Wall Street? What's going on with inflation? If that's what they're thinking about, how could you just do some posts around that general post and say, what do you think about this? Is milk going up? Right? Did that my wife got gas in the car last night and she came home. She's like, that was like $45. She's like, what in the world's going on? Well, okay, obviously it's impacting our budget because something's happening. Make post about that and build conversation. And pretty soon they're going to be looking and say, yeah, you know what? Maybe we do need to manage something better. Social media is a great way to do that because people are talking, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, when someone is posting on social media, and something that I see a lot of advisors out there doing is posting articles about GDP or interest rates or that sort of thing, but they're not tying it back to how that affects the individual. Yeah, it's boring.
It is.
Oh,
It is.
and your audience is just going to keep scrolling on by.
Yeah.
But if you tie that back to how it's affecting them personally, that's when they're going to stop the scroll. That's when they're going to start reading.
So here you go. I'll give this tip. I don't know if it's worthy or not, but putting out pictures on Facebook when you're doing posting things, right? Go to the grocery store and take a picture of some of the empty spots on the shelves, because there are empty. Every time my wife goes to the grocery store, she comes back, she goes, half the shelves are empty. What's going on? It's that supply chain thing, right? Take a picture of that, post that out, and have a conversation around that, because I assure you, everybody's understanding that, yeah, the shelves aren't as full as they used to be. What's going on with that?
Exactly.
That's something they're interested in. GD who?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's industry lingo that
Yeah.
nobody outside the industry really. I mean, I don't speak that way in normal. I mean, I can't tell you, Lan, the last time I had a conversation with anybody about GDP. So, but milk prices and gas prices and empty shelves, that happens all
Yeah.
the time. So
Yeah,
talk to
exactly.
people about what's really happening in real language. Be a real person.
Yes.
You'll gain real clients. Sorry.
Absolutely. And so every single person that likes that post, that comments on that post, that shares that post, there are your new leads.
Yes.
And maybe it took you 5 or 10 minutes to put the post together. It didn't take you, it didn't cost you any money, but you've got new leads to connect with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure that you teach in your courses and things, and as you mentor, having a strategy, having a plan in place, because I see a lot of and talk with a lot of business owners who they do tactics, and I would hate for somebody to listen to this and go, oh, that's a great tactic, I'm going to do that. Well, yeah, it is a great tactic, only when it's backed by a strategy of why are you doing what you're doing and how, right? Talk a little bit about that and the importance of that.
Well, most of us in the financial industry, we're planners by nature.
Mm-hmm.
And also, people as a whole, if we don't know where we're going or what our end target is or our end position is, it's really hard to get to that point. So we need to have a strategy or a system in place. And that's what I help with. I help you put a system in place so you know exactly where it is that you want to go, whether it's revenue wise or number of clients on board, whatever the case may be. And we work with you to get your messaging in place, to get your posting strategy in place. and your individual lead generation strategy in place. I think the biggest um, the biggest thing that takes away from advisors' revenue and time is to have these really gaping holes in their lead generation bucket.
Yep.
And so, for example, someone calls, you're communicating with them, they book an appointment, then they cancel, then you forget to follow up, and it gets confusing.
Never happens.
Yeah. And you're leaving so much money on the table. So the system that I use with my clients is to help them plug all the holes in the bucket, make sure that the correct messages are being sent out at the same time. We automate it as much as humanly possible so that you're increasing your revenue, but at the same time, you're, saving a ton of time too.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that, because that was going to be my next question. I want to run down this thing. Is that sounds like an awful lot of time and effort and energy, even though I'm saving money. You just, Leanne, I really don't want to spend, 3 hours a day doing Facebook and social media.
Yeah,
Does it
you don't
take that
have
kind
to.
of time commitment?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to at all. It doesn't have to at
All
all.
right.
Yeah.
Because you said one of my favorite.
Oftentimes,
Yeah.
oftentimes I finish my posting and my commenting by the time I'm done my first coffee in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't have to suck all your time when you
No.
have a system, right? And it's just being consistent over time. That's one of my favorite phrases, is consistency over time. You're going to show up, and we write a daily email in our business, and it takes about 12 minutes a day to write that email. Well, that's a really good investment of our time, because we do it all the time, right?
Yes.
Same thing here. You build a system, though, and that's what you mentor and help these female financial advisors do. I love that. But to build a system, and you block out your time, you say, here's when I'm going to do it, and here's what we're going to talk about. Here are the channels we're going to use. You don't have to be on every social media channel, I assume, right? I'm speaking out of turn here, but I would imagine your audience is everywhere, but you need to choose probably one at the beginning and become a household name with that audience, and then add another one. Never leave that one, but you always add another one. Is that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's best to take a look at, where is your ideal perfect client? Where do they hang out? Do they hang out on Facebook? Do they hang out on LinkedIn? Is it TikTok? Wherever that place happens to be, that's where you put your first focus. And once you have your system optimized and working like a well-oiled machine, that's when you add the next one and layer it on top, and so on and so forth. And to my point before, a lot of this can be automated, so it doesn't have to take a ton of time. A little bit of planning at the beginning of the week, and you're good to go.
Yeah. And automation, my audience understands I'm big on systems.
Yeah.
And automation is kind of another word for a system that does the work mostly for you, but you've got some time in there. You're telling your story. You're being you. And when you set it up properly, you can do those posts from the soccer field, from the grocery store, from your office, from your home, from wherever. I was talking to one of my clients yesterday, and she was at her son's JV basketball game. And we were just, going back and forth on Slack, and she's like, hey, I got to go. My son's getting introduced or something. I thought, that's so cool. She could do a post from the JV basketball game of her son and on the basketball team, right? Put that on social media. I assure you, all of the moms are going to go, oh, what's that, right?
Yeah.
It's engaging because that's where they live.
Yes. And people want to know that you are a real person.
Absolutely.
You are not, some rigid person sitting in your, business suit all day long behind a desk. People want to know that you're real. You've got a family, you have the same problems everybody else has, but you specialize in one area, and that's where you can help.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so many times I tell people to look at what all your competitors are doing and run the other way.
Exactly.
Because they're all the stuff shirt, the professional, look at all of my designations. Yeah. I don't even know what those mean. I don't care. I want to know, can I talk with you? Yeah. They really, alphabet soup. Absolutely. The question is, Leanne, my kid's 8. He's going to college in 10 years. We haven't saved a dime. I'm starting to feel like we're way behind. Can we do anything there? That's a conversation that could potentially lead somewhere, right? But that's a real life thing, so we've got spring break coming up. Start posting around spring break, summer break. Where are you going on vacation, right? Are you doing any summer school? Are your kids going to college visits? Those are the things that people are thinking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Post about stuff like that. And how does it affect your life? Be real. And you're so right, because that's what people resonate with. We've always said, people have to know, like, and trust you. Well, they do. They have to believe you. They've got to bond with you. And especially in financial advising, because if I'm going to move all of my money to you, or even portions of my money, I've got to trust you and like you and say,
absolutely,
yeah,
100%.
yeah. And most people I find don't have a financial advisor that they're locked to. Many of them have found one by default, and they're like, well, yeah, I use Jimmy or Johnny. I mean, he's okay. Well, don't have an okay financial advisor. Have somebody you love, right?
Exactly.
And that's what you help your clients understand, is how to bond with their clients.
Yes.
Do it in a real way, because it just gets so out of whack when a financial advisor starts talking about the thing, the life insurance, the annuity, the return. That's not what I'm after. I'm after whatever that gets me.
Yes.
Right.
What's it going to do for me? What's it going to do?
Transformation. Yeah. The transformation. And really, what's even that transformation of, how about if I can help you pay for your your kids' college education and save money on taxes at the same time? Would that be helpful? Mm-hmm. Or how about if we helped you save taxes so the government will pay for your kids' education? How do you do that? Well, let's have a conversation around that, right? I don't know. I'm making things up, right? But that's how I always approach it, is what do they really, really, really want? They don't care about annuities and life insurance and it's stocks and bonds and my portfolio is bad. Who cares? I mean, at one level, some people might, so you got to be good at what you do. But most people are so busy taking their kids to soccer practice and gymnastics. Leanne, you know where we're going. Can you get me there? Okay, great. Thanks. That's what I want. I want to bond.
Exactly. And that's the same as what most people want. And it really reminds me of a client that I personally worked with a number of years ago. He walked into my office. The very first thing he said to me, very first thing, I'm not buying any insurance. I'm just, okay, that's fine. So we had our conversation and, talked to him about what he's looking to do and why that was important to him. And I put a plan together for him and said, okay, the strategy that I have is, going to provide the legacy to your kids like you want. You want some, tax advantageous growth in your portfolio. And he's like, yeah, Leanne, this sounds great. Okay, how do we do that? And I said, do you want to know how we do that? We do it with insurance. And by the time he walked out of the office, I'd submitted 2 applications to underwriting.
That's right. Because he doesn't care. I tell advisors all the time, if I could get you absolute tax-free guaranteed income for the rest of your life by selling you my water bottle, you'd buy my water bottle, right?
Yes, I would.
You really don't care what the vehicle is.
Yeah.
So shut up. But you did a great job by asking him, okay, what's important to you? Why is that important? How do we get there? Okay. Yeah, we can get you there. Here's the vehicle we're going to put you in. Yeah. It's a 4-door sedan or it's a 2-door Corvette. It doesn't matter. That's the vehicle that's going to get you to the destination you just told me you want to get to. All right, let's go. So it's understanding. So the thing I love about what you do is it's more robust than just, I'm going to teach you a social media marketing strategy that doesn't cost you money. You don't have to buy leads. That's great. But you've got the experience of being a financial advisor, a female financial advisor, working with female. You can share stories just like that to go, it's now that you've got the lead, great. What's the process from there? Right? How do you, and that's part of what you bring to the table in your group settings. And I love the fact that you mentor ladies in groups, because we learn 5 times faster in a group setting than one-on-one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you're not just handing them a formula or a done for you system. Go watch these videos and you'll be able to do it. No, that's not what this is about. This is about an interaction with Leanne and a few of your peers from around the world, at least North America. And the thing that you're going to find is that everybody struggles with the same things.
Yeah, they really do. They really do. And I absolutely love the group format because we're all learning from each other. We all have different experiences and different things that we can learn from one another, and it makes us all stronger at the end of the time.
Absolutely. And from a business owner's perspective, it makes me a lot less, lonely when I'm in a mastermind group or a group setting with other business owners. And it makes me not feel as dumb because I realize that, okay, I'm not the only one asking this dumb question. Okay, great. Everybody else is like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Michael. And it's really fun to be in those settings to go, okay, transparency, here we go. This is me and this is what I'm struggling with. And everybody's like, yeah, me too. Okay, let's work together. And by the end of a session or two, the traction that you gain is unbelievable. And then you come back and say, hey, here's my win for the week. Look what happened here. And everybody's like, yeah, way to go. There's nothing like it. It's really cool to be in a group setting. And talk to us just a little bit about your group, how people can find you, other information you want to share today. Because we could talk for hours.
We could. Yeah, if you want a little bit of a head start on how you can start generating leads through social media, you can go to my site at luxleads.pro. So LUXE leads.pro, PRO. You can download there a step-by-step guide as to how to get your warm leads on Facebook. And if you want to set up a time to chat with either myself or my team, there's some room for you to set up a call with us as well.
I love that. There's some room for you to set up a call. I like that. I've never heard anybody say it quite like that. That made me feel like I was walking into your living room and say, there's some room for you right here. luxleads.pro. I'm going to capture that into the show notes as well. And obviously you can find Leanne on social media. Of course, she's all over the place. But I just want to encourage people out there who are, okay, you may slap me for this, even if you're a guy out there, because, she mentors female financial advisors. She might open that up in the future to some of us guys, because, Lord knows we need help. But go to luxleads.pro and get her information. But especially if you're a female financial advisor, go check her out and learn from her and have that conversation. You can tell that Leanne is a high pressure salesperson just from this conversation. She's just going to twist your arm and right. Yeah. That's the thing I love about you, Leanne, is you're just laid back and you're like, okay, this is how I did it. And you built a huge, great, successful business and you left it. You walked away to do this, to help other ladies help others with their financial planning. And we all need help with that because it's a nightmare. So that's really cool. Lux Leads, LUXE leads.pro. You get that free download and then reach out to schedule a call with Leanne just to say, is this right? Am I a good fit for your program? Maybe I'm not, right? Who fits what? Let's talk about that just for a minute, right at the end. Who would be a good fit for this program?
Really, any woman that is in insurance or investments, accountant, anyone in the financial realm that really wants to learn more and do more in their business without having to cold call someone they don't know.
Okay. So you just opened that up. I was thinking financial advice, financial planning, accounting, mortgage, somebody, a female mortgage officer or something like that. Tax resolution person. So you just open up the can of worms for me. It's like, wow, that's much bigger than I even thought. Because I was thinking financial planning, your financial, that's interesting.
The entire financial industry.
Yeah.
Because although the specific niches within the financial industry are different, the principles are all the same.
I'm going to throw this one out there. It's a curveball here, right? What if you're a woman who works at a bank and you're working with the financial components of your clients, right? You could do this because the bank's not going to market and they have their own stagnant marketing stuff, but you could run your own little business within that bank, and you could reach out on social media. You could work on stuff like that. Or if you're a mortgage person working for somebody, you could reach out to this. So that just, thanks for that. I'm glad I asked that question, because that just opened it up to really a much broader perspective.
Yeah.
If you're a CFO out there and you're needing to expand your audience, there's all kinds of wow. Okay. Enough. luxleads.pro. Go get the information from Leanne. Schedule a call with her. She'll welcome you into her sitting room, and the two of you will sit in a Zoom sitting room. I don't know. It'll be fun. As you can tell, yeah, Leanne's a lot of fun to be with. She's very laid back, super, super knowledgeable. And it's been quite an honor and joy to have you on my podcast. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. The honor's been mine.
Well, it's been lots of fun. I know we'll be doing some other things together, and just really encourage people to reach out to you. Everything's captured in the show notes, and see how Leanne can really help you connect with people, grow your business without buying leads and without making cold calls. So Lux Leads, LUXE, luxleads.pro is where you can find that. Leanne Teston, thank you again. I hope you have a fantastic week.
Thank you. You too.